105.1 The Goat as they open their 2025 WIAA tournament run against St. Mary Catholic. As you can see, we are joined right now by the head coach of the Gibraltar Vikings, Brandon Schmidt. And Coach, thank you so much for joining us today. And we exchanged a text message about a week and a half ago about how you're really proud of how this team has performed this season despite the lack of results. What are some of those things that maybe you've seen improve from your first season on the job last year to this season?
Yeah, Tim, first of all, thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it. Listen, the girls that we have this year are fighters. As far as improvement from last year to this year, they're starting to learn how to win. Again, it doesn't show it on the record books, but 3 wins is the most wins that the Gibraltar program has had since 2016, and in 2016 that was 3 wins. So from my perspective, our hitting has improved, defense has improved, and I'll tell you, we've been riding one of our freshman pitchers a lot this year, which is a big deal. I mean, she's pitched about 70% of the innings this year, which is a great thing as a coach, knowing that you kind of have that in your arsenal, and all she's going to do is get better. So really excited so far.
And one of the things that you mentioned to me was, those games that were ending maybe after 3 or 4 innings are now ending 4 or 5 innings and stuff like that. And how encouraging has that been for your team that's, as you mentioned, has had to learn how to win? Sometimes it can be tough to kind of say, hey, this is a bright spot. This is a win for us, and kind of keep on going with how the season's gone.
Sure, Tim. As you know, I mean, you cover a lot of Gibraltar girls sports, and I mean, there isn't a lot of success there. And I'll tell you, I listened to an interview that you had with Jay Kita, and coming off of kind of their rough fall and winter seasons, Jay and you discussed about, we got to get these boys to win. I mean, I'm fighting the same battle, but it's years and years and years of losing. Jay obviously has a lot more success over the years, so his guys kind of have that. Our girls are just starting to kind of feel it, see it. And, we've had some games. We had a tough team, obviously, Southern Door. We went to the 5th inning. It was a 2-3-1 game or whatever. And we just piled on, 8-9 errors. You and I talked about this at the end of our last season with last game with Roncalli. We have these couple of big innings that kind of implode on us. We've reduced that. We're still having them. But, we're starting to hang with teams a little bit longer. I mean, obviously the Packerland Conference it's a tough conference. I mean, when you stack up Algoma, Sevastopol, Peshtigo, Southern Door, all just great coach teams, great athletes. And, we're kind of that little engine that could, we're building momentum. So I'm really excited, and, the girls are excited. And I think that we're really making a shift in what this program's doing.
And you're not just working with the varsity program. Obviously, that's your focus, but you've also taken time to go into the younger ranks. When you look at this team down the road, I'm thinking of other programs. For a long time, Gibraltar football, compared to the rest of the 8-player teams, they aired the ball out while everybody kind of ran. Speaking from my personal experience, if you wrestled against Hersey, watch out because the legs are be coming. What is the Brandon Schmidt Gibraltar softball program going to look once you kind of are able to infiltrate the whole program from the high school ranks all the way down to the little kids?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be consistency. I think that right now, when I kind of took over the program, a lot of girls had trouble just throwing the ball, to be honest with you. And I think that, we're really instilling, proper technique, proper hitting techniques. I think that, at the younger ages, the coaches are really engaged. I know the Nordor, younger ages are, run by Jordan Burst, and, she is a great advocate for our programs. Really excited, to have that enthusiasm from them. We've, hosted a really big clinic. All the coaches were super engaged. We have some of our girls on our team that are actually helping out with the, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders as well, teaching, our hitting styles and those types of things. our program is going to look completely different, 2-3 years down the road as these girls start to funnel up into the high school ages. And I'm really excited about it. Just so excited.
Now, the nice thing is that as you work with this team, this is going to be another year where you're you're, you're not going to be left with an empty cupboard. You're only losing a couple seniors, but talk about those seniors that have obviously have kind of gone through these growing pains, but have embraced what you've been able to bring to the team the last 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing there. There's, really, I'm losing Pam Prescott, Anna and Abby Jarsh, and actually one of my juniors, she's graduating early as well in the winter next year, Courtney Foy. I will tell you, the four of them, just absolutely amazing, great student athletes. They're going to do great things in college. But I will tell you, I think the biggest thing for me is, when I kind of talk to them, is the improvement that they've seen, the ability that we're actually winning games. You're never going to replace a Pam. You're never going to replace an Abby or Anna. Their leadership is great. And, Courtney as well. I mean, just great players. But I think that they've kind of embraced what's happening, and it's kind of rolled off to the younger girls. And so everybody's embracing what we're doing. And it's making a big difference on the field for sure.
And then coming up on Thursday, we'll have Gibraltar and St. Mary Catholic. Now, as we've kind of joked with the other coaches, it's not like football or basketball where you can load up a YouTube and watch film and things like that. You kind of have to live and die by the box score. But, maybe through your conversations with other coaches looking at that box score, what can you tell us about St. Mary Catholic?
So St. Mary's, to me, they're very similar. They play, obviously, they've got a couple of games a year against Mishcot, which is obviously one of the best teams in the state, if not the best state team in the state. I will tell you, when I'm looking at comparables, kind of at the rankings of the teams that they've played and the teams that we've played, I think we're at about a 145 ranking and they're about a 149. Comparable games, I've looked at, they've played Hilbert twice. We played them once. They split those games. We lost 6-4 in a game that I felt we probably could have won. So when I'm looking at just straight opponents, I feel like we're very comparable. I think they're a tough team. They play in a tough conference just like us. But, yeah, we're going to be ready to go for sure.
So we get to Thursday, get in between the lines. What is it going to take for the Vikings to advance to a Tuesday playoff game next week?
We have to limit errors. We have to hit the ball. I mean, those two things. Our pitching right now, again, I'm not sure where we're going to go with our pitching. Our junior pitcher, Emily Glock, great kid. She's dealing with the sickness right now. I don't know if she's going to be available tomorrow. She's not at school today. So if not, her younger sister, Mia, who's, taken a lot of the innings this year, I've got 100% confidence in her. So it's really the defense behind them. They're going to put the balls in play, whoever we play. Our defense needs to be clean, and we need to back them up with our bats. I think one of the biggest things that we lack is, sometimes when we get behind in a score, we just start swinging and we lose what we've been taught, and we don't put any pressure on these teams. If we put the ball in the play, they have the same problems that we do, but we need to put the ball in the play, and that's where we're going to accelerate. So.
Well, we will have the game for our listeners on 105 The Goat beginning at 4:15 with the pregame show followed by the first pitch at 4:30. Coach Brandon Schmidt, we thank you so much for the time, and we'll talk to you after the game.
Perfect. Thank you, Tim. Really appreciate it.
You've been listening to 105 The Goat and the new Radio Sports Network.